Dozens of firefighters and EMTs from Tilden, Oakdale, and Meadow Grove showed up in Tilden Saturday to practice extrication and transporting patients to the hospital via LifeNet.
This is our second year. I don't know if it's annual yet, but we have done it 2 years in a row. Had a pretty good turnout.
Throughout the morning, firefighters practiced responding to a variety of car accident scenarios.
On an almost real scenario, we had turned over vehicles. We had vehicles on the roof. We had them on their wheels. We had the door jams pushed shut so they couldn't reach into them. They got to use the tools that the community has purchased for us generously, and we can use them to protect them. We've also included our neighboring communities, Meadow Grove and Oakdale, so when we're shorthanded during the workday, they also know where our tools are.
EMTs were also present to enhance their accident response skills and fulfill training requirements.
Every 2 years as an EMT, you have to get 20 hours of continuing education. And for a scenario like this, we like to do training because we don't get a lot of accident calls. So we don't get a lot of opportunities to play with this equipment. It's very helpful at a real life scene to have some practice with it, gain your knowledge of what equipment does what, just be familiar and be ready to know how to use it.
The EMTs also helped guide firefighters through the accident scenarios.
Extremely important to have EMTs here. They guide us as we're doing the extrication, how they want the victim moved. As we move them from the vehicle, we usually do a lot of the lifting for them as they stabilize. We're under their guidance. We had one victim that was under a vehicle, and of course we got here and they told us the victim was under pressure and we actually couldn't move them until LifeNet was here, till we had paramedics on scene, because the injuries that we had given him were going to be life-threatening as soon as we took pressure off the vehicle. So working with them and not just getting here and removing the victim was important.
The team used a dummy for some scenarios, but also brought in live actors as victims in others.
When a real life scenario, that patient's going to be scared, they're going to be nervous. Having the simulated victims be able to tell us what they were going through helps us to know how to treat a patient if we were in a real life situation.
A helicopter from LifeNet also flew in from Norfolk for the training.
Most times the EMTs will call LifeNet in. There have been some circumstances where we have called them ourselves. We know we get to the scene maybe before the EMTs and we see how bad it is. We will go ahead and dispatch them to knock a minute or two off. But it's important to work with them so we know what they expect of us and what we expect of them.
Rescue team members said they were a bit slow in completing some drills and they would like to be more efficient in real-world situations.
Now we're learning, I guess. That's what today's all about. I wish somebody would have timed it.
In a real life situation, you don't want to have to take time to think about, oh, we could have done this better, or today's the day where we can practice different scenarios. So when we actually have to use them, we know what works best.
Wilcox said lessons learned today could make the difference in a rescue operation in the future.
We had one of our members who we were on a real call, and when we got done, he commented, he goes, the training from last year is what made a difference on this real call on the highway. And he was thankful that he showed up last year for it. He said it was necessary.
For more on this story, read next week's edition of our newspaper. This is Brian Beach with the Antelope County News.